Jagrata, Jai Masters. You can live whatever life you want in the time between your birth and your death. Even that statement people don't believe. They think it's a belief. It's not a belief. You were born, you're going to die. In between, there's this thing called time. You can live whatever life you want during that time. That doesn't mean you can get whatever you want. Doesn't mean you can have whatever you want. It just means you can live whatever life you want during that time. Life is not about what you get or what you lose or what you don't get. Life is about how you're doing in there. How you doing? Enjoying your life? Or are you having a hard time? That's what I mean when I say you can live whatever life you want. If you want to enjoy your life, enjoy your life. Nothing can stop you. There's nobody else in there. You're the only one in there. You want to have fun? Have fun. You want to enjoy every second of your life? Enjoy every second of your life. But we don't live like that. We don't do that. We don't even believe that. What happened? Because it's true. What happened was as follows. Your mind. I'm not blaming the mind. The mind's a great thing. But what you do with it is a serious problem. Let's talk about what you could do with your mind. And then we'll talk about what you do with your mind. Scientists, astronomers, astrophysicists, estimating now there's 2 trillion galaxies in our known universe. What does that mean? There's 2 trillion galaxies. In order to get a concept of the number, I'm daring you, sit in a corner and count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, to 2 trillion. How long do you think it would take you? Pull out your calculator and figure it out, because you ain't going to be alive. I think it would take many, 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 many lifetimes for you to succeed at that. And each one of those counts was a galaxy. And what's a galaxy? A galaxy is not Earth. A galaxy is not the sun. A galaxy is the Milky Way. A galaxy is 300 billion stars. And there are 2 trillion of those. That's reality. That's what's going on. And if your mind says, but what's that got to do with me? Everything. It puts it in perspective. You're born onto a planet spinning around one star out of the 300 billion in one galaxy, of which there are 2 trillion of them. And you're having a problem. You're having a problem because you're not keeping it in perspective. Well, how do I keep it in perspective? I can't see 2 trillion galaxies. I can't even see my galaxy. That's why you have a mind. You are gifted with this thing called mind. I remember when I was in like an elementary school, and they were teaching you things in science. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember it. And I remember that they told you the difference between a human, Homo sapien human, and other animals is that a human is capable of abstract thought. I had no idea what that was. It's just like a weird word, abstract thought. What I just told you was abstract thought. That's abstract thought. In other words, you don't see the trillions of galaxies. All you see is what your senses show you. But your mind is capable of letting you, in a sense, experience something beyond your senses. But it abstracts from your senses. It goes beyond your senses. It's not something that is limited to your senses. That's what abstract thought is. You do have the ability to contemplate in your mind what it would feel like to see 2 trillion galaxies. It changes your sense of being, doesn't it? Just like if you see something outside, it changes your sense of being. If you see something inside your mind, it changes your sense of being. Your whole sense of who you are and what's going on changes if you use your mind to remember that whatever's happening to you is on one piece of dirt spinning around one star, which is one of 300 billion stars in one galaxy, of which there are 2 trillion. Wow, wasn't it tough? He yelled at you. That is what it means to use your mind properly. If you are using your mind properly and contemplating beyond, that's what it means. It's called jnana yoga. Jnana Yoga, the yoga of wisdom, where you use your mind to contemplate the infinite. Use your mind to contemplate reality instead of contemplating something so tiny and so small that it's hard to call it reality. All right? Then all of a sudden what would happen is you're contemplating it. So what's happening between my birth and my death sitting on this planet spinning out in the middle of nowheres? All kinds of things. People yell at you. People are nice to you. People are taller than you. People are shorter than you. You win some games. You lose some games. Sometimes you forget somebody's name, and sometimes you remember it. How many things happen to you while you're here? It's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it fun? Why is it not just fun? Why is it just not, wow, it's exciting? You know, it should be like on your deathbed. Wow, that was neat. Wow, thank you. That was really neat. Wasn't that fun? You just had a good old time between your birth and your death. You just experienced what? You experienced this tiny little part of the universe. Oh my God. How tiny is it? Well, you can't experience more because your senses are that limited. So surely, if you're missing 99.9999% of the entire universe, which you are, I mean, much more nines, by the way, then surely you're at least appreciating and enjoying the part you get to see, aren't you? Oh, was I supposed to be appreciating and enjoying it? Yes, it's the part you get to see. So what's so hard about that? There it is, right there. That is the spiritual state. It's not complicated. You don't need books. Are you willing to sit there and come into reality and say, I'm on a planet, and everything that ever happened to me happened on there? Well, it must have been fun. It's kind of neat. Instead of asking whether you like what's happening, why don't you ask if you'd rather have nothing happening? Because that's what's happening everywhere else. As far as we can tell, like the Hubble up there, very, very good telescope, it has looked everywhere and seen nothing. Go to Mars. All this thing now, I'm going to send a human to Mars. What for? It's just a bunch of dirt. I mean, there's nothing going on Mars. Send a person to Earth. That's neat. All this excitement. There's giraffes and elephants and worms and roaches and people and things, and right or wrong, and elections. Oh, wow. I was like, what? There's no elections on Mars? There's nothing, all right? The truth of the matter is, you would not want to be on Mars. It's one of those places they say, nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. There's nothing happening. How often in your life has there been nothing happening in front of you? I mean, nothing. Never. Never. So you have this time between your birth and your death in which you are on perhaps the most exciting planet, albeit as tiny as it is, and you get to have these experiences. That's what I mean when I say you can have whatever life you want. You can live whatever life you want. You can live a life of enjoying the experience you're having. You can live a life of complaining about the experience you're having. You can live a life of being happy and enthused and appreciating everything and then be passionate about your interaction with life around you. Or you can be depressed and sad. All right. What causes that difference? Because everybody's experiencing something, aren't they? Everybody's having a life. Everybody's given the gift of this experience of what it's like to be on the planet Earth. You can't tell me what it's like to be on planet Earth and only tell me what you saw. Because if I ask him, he saw something else, and she saw something else, and everybody sees something else, don't they? All of which are what it's like to be on the planet Earth. Rich, poor, sick, healthy, birth, death, all of it. All of it's part of the planet Earth, isn't it? So a wise person does as follows. They sit there and wake up in the morning, and they say, oh boy, I wonder what will happen. I wonder what will happen today. And as they go through their day, they appreciate and respect what's happening because it's the part they get to see. But they always remember that if they look to the left, they see something else. They look to the right, they see something else. You look up, you see something else. Now, remember where you look, there's something going on in there. So what you're seeing is just this nothing. I don't want to say I'm sorry, all right? It's just this nothing experience. There's a hole. You don't see much of it, do you? But at least you see what you see. To me, the most spiritual thing we have ever talked about is that at the same moment you are seeing something, everywhere else there's something else going on, isn't there? You don't see it, but it's going on exactly the same. There's nothing different about what you're seeing and what's going on everywhere else. It's just part of what is. It's like the whole story they talk about blind people looking at an elephant, trying to describe an elephant. You don't even have to be blind. Just stand there and look at an elephant. Stand up close and look at an elephant. What do you see? Somebody sees the broad side of a barn. Somebody sees a rope in the back. Somebody sees a fire hose in the front. Somebody sees a tree trunk when they look at the feet. Wherever you're looking, you see something different. But it's all the same. It's just an elephant. It's all life. You just get to see the part that's in front of you. So you wake up, you're excited to see what's going to unfold in front of you. You're aware at all times that there's nothing special. There's nothing special about what you see. There's nothing special about what's happening to you. Nothing. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing. If I would ask you to contemplate, meditate upon something, and I hope it's shocking to you, I want you to contemplate that what you see has nothing to do with you. It took 13.8 billion years to get here, didn't it? Everything unfolded exactly as it did since the Big Bang to put everything together so that the moment in front of you is what it is. What's that got to do with you? Nothing has anything to do with you. It has to do with itself. You don't make the planet. You don't make what's happening. You don't make the animals. You don't make the weather. And not to mention, forget making the planet. What about the sun? What about the other planets? What about the other 300 billion stars? What about the other 2 trillion galaxies? It has nothing to do with you. You're just the conscious being who happens to be here. And you happen to see what's in front of you. There's nothing special about what's in front of you. There's nothing not special about what's in front of you. It's a portion of life. It's an elephant trunk. It's an elephant tail. It's an elephant leg. Maybe by using shock therapy, it works. What you see has nothing to do with you. It's never had anything to do with you, except that you see it. The most you can say is, but it's the part I saw. Yep, that's right. It's the part that you saw. But I saw the hose. I saw the trunk. I saw the tail. I saw the... Okay, so what? It's the part you saw. It has nothing to do with what's going on. What's going on is a whole. There's a universe. It's enormous. And there's stuff going on every single place in the universe, even in quasars and supernovas. You don't want to be there, but there's stuff going on. Flashes, light, and energy, and so on. So here in front of you, there's a man, there's a person, there's a tambourine. Wow, that's neat. You're getting down to seeing what's in front of you. A wise person lives like this. Who's stopping you? Believe it or not, there aren't even any laws yet that say you can't do this. There's laws against other ways of getting high, but there's no laws against this way of getting high. And this way is real, and it stays, it's permanent. You have the right to live whatever life you want. Now you see why I said that. You're the only one in there. It is your mind. You can do anything you want with it. And one thing you can do with it, let's talk about the two extremes. One thing you can do with it is come in harmony with truth. You can say, oh, mind, I know your senses aren't showing you very much, but you can contemplate anything. You can think of anything you want. I think that you should spend a day, every single thing you do, having your mind in the background, remember that you're spinning around a star in the middle of a galaxy. Just keep that in mind and see what happens to your life. It'll change completely. It will change absolutely completely. No matter what you're doing, you put it in perspective, it's like, it will blow your mind. Because that's what you did. You expanded the thought of your mind to not be limited and fixated to what's coming in through your senses. Why? Because what's coming in through your senses is meaningless. It's nothing. It's a nothing, isn't it? It's absolutely nothing. It's not even a reasonable sample. All right? It's like you go out there, I know who's going to win the election. How do you know? I asked her. Who's she going to vote for? I mean, that's ridiculous. It's not a reasonable sample, is it? It's statistically insignificant. So is what's in front of you. It's not a reasonable sample of what's going on. Yet what has happened, now let's talk about why you don't live like this. What has happened is throughout your life, you have experienced through your senses what's in front of you. It's nothing. It's statistically insignificant. There's 800 billion zillion other things going on that you don't experience, but you only experience the part you experience. Then you go to the next moment. Well, you experience that one. Also nothing. Then the next one. Then it's like tying dots together in the middle of nothing. And that's the only thing you have in your mind, isn't it? It's embarrassing. The only thing you have in your mind is the nothing that you experienced each time. Well, you know, 0 times 0 is 0. Rounds to 0, right? And I'm telling you, this may sound silly to you. This is it. That's what you have in your mind, is the sum of your learned experiences. Certainly you don't have anything in your mind that you didn't. So that's why every one of you have something different in your mind, because you've all had different experiences. The problem is this, and this is the problem. Instead of using your mind to contemplate the abstract reality of creation, of the whole, your mind only pays attention to this data that you picked up with these meaningless experiences. And therefore you formulate in your mind a concept of what's going on based upon the nothing you picked up. Therefore, you think it's totally different than she thinks. You've had totally different experiences. You're a woman, you're old, you're young, whatever it is. No experience is better or worse. All of it was going on at the same time. It's just the part you happen to be standing there and seeing. It is absolutely meaningless what you have experienced so far because you missed everything. So you don't get to go in there and formulate a view, an opinion, a concept about what's going on based upon the tiny nothing that you experienced. But you do that. Your mind does that. If you're not careful, somehow the little bit that you've experienced, because it's so real to you, you can tell me that what's to my right is just as real as in front of me. It's not to me, obviously, because I'm not experiencing it, right? So experience came in. It was like data. It left an impression upon my mind. Then what happened is I formulated this whole concept and view and opinions and beliefs and everything about two things. They go hand in hand. One, about what's going on. The minute I put it all together into this collage, what's going on, what do I think about women, what do I think about men, what do I think about older people, what do I think about sickness, what do I think about this, what do I think about money, what do I think about people who have money, what do I think about Ferraris, what do I think about beat up Volkswagen vans. Everything I said, your mind did something. You understand that? And you go, woo, eh. So it formulates all of this, and every single thing I said is based on your past experiences, and every one of you had different reactions. Isn't that neat? It's because that's what you held in there. Now what you do is you formulate this whole view of what's going on. But it doesn't stop at that. The moment you formulate a view of what's going on, you formulate preference. It is impossible to not do that. When it came in, it didn't come in neutral, did it? When you were growing up in the 60s, traveling around with your hippie parents, and you had a Volkswagen van, whatever experience you had, and you had a good experience, then if somebody shows you a picture of an old hippie van with flowers on it and love, your heart opens and you feel beautiful and everything's right in the world. But if all there was fighting and problems and all this junk and mommy and daddy didn't get along and it wasn't very good hippieville, and now you sit there and see something, you feel terrible. So when it came in, it had a vibration. And so you didn't just store it as what you experienced, did you? You stored it as good or bad. You stored it as a nice thing or a not nice thing. So now I'm telling you, this is the essence of Zen Buddhism, of all the deep teachings. It came in, it left an impression on you. That's all you have, so you formulate this whole view of the world based on your experiences, which is a false view. It's so false, it's ridiculous. I know what an elephant is. It's a fire hose. And you're sure, aren't you? I've seen one. I held it. I touched it. You're so positive you'd go to death over it. Well, guess what? You're wrong, because you only know what you know, which is nothing. Okay? But you're sure of what you know, aren't you? Because there's nobody in there competing, right? It's the only part you got. If somehow I could take the part she got and put it in yours, you'd be confused. You'd be totally confused. You'd have trouble making a decision. Oh my God, you'd be in big trouble. Because now you have these totally different patterns inside that don't agree with each other. You just basically have built this model of reality based upon your personal experiences. It does not match reality. It has nothing to do with reality. It will mislead you every single time. It's absurd is what it is. It will cause war. That's what wars are about. I don't agree with yours. You don't agree with mine. Well, of course not. You have totally different experiences. That's what every single argument in every family, in every household, in every nation, in every community is all about, which is, I don't see it the way you do. Of course you don't see it the way I do. That doesn't make you right. It means you had different experiences. If I had the experiences you had, maybe I would see it the way you do. And if you had the experience I had, maybe you'd see it the way I do. So it's not a matter of who's stronger about their commitments, who's stronger about the nothing that they have in there, who can be more powerful and more unbudging and more manipulative and controlling that my way is right. That's who wins. No, that's who loses. Do you want to talk truth? We are talking truth, aren't we? Is this not the problem of every single problem everywhere? All right? It's natural that you had different experiences. Of course you did. By definition, wherever you were looking, that's the experience you had. It's natural that those had impressions upon your mind. Your mind is impressed by the experiences it had. It is not natural that you don't have this ability to abstract from all of this and realize at the same time I was having those experiences, there are 2 trillion galaxies out there, and my experiences are so meaningless, it's stupid to even pay attention to them. They're just nothing. Instead, what happens is because they came in with a sense of either good or bad or nice or not nice or pleasurable or painful, they came in, I stored them that way. It's bad enough I picked up the ones I did, which are nothing, but I gave them value judgments, didn't I? I like this, I don't like this. So the moment it comes in, now when you formulate this world, it's way more dangerous. Here's the world according to you, and it's not just here it is that experience, it's this is how it should be and this is how it shouldn't be. And I'm going to guarantee you where you got your shoulds and shouldn'ts. You got your shoulds and shouldn'ts by the experiences you had, whether they felt good when you had them. If they felt good when you had them, hey, what feels so good can't be so bad. It's really interesting how your logic works, isn't it? And if it felt bad when it came in, this is wrong. If it felt really bad, this is the work of the devil. If it felt really good, it's a miracle. Oh my God, it was like God came down and gave me this. It was a miracle. Basically, you put value judgment on this model you built. And now, when you look out into the world, you don't even see what's happening now. You see what's coming in now in relationship to what came in before. When it comes in, it hits your stuff. How about if I say that? And now you know what your stuff is. That which you picked up by your experiences and then stored as good or bad. It's not even neutral. It's bad enough that you didn't experience anything. It's just the funniest thing in the world. You sat there and went out to look at the Pacific Ocean. And the particular time you looked at it, there was a wave coming up and a dolphin jumped up out of the wave. It was the most beautiful thing you ever saw. So that's now what the Pacific Ocean is. To you, please don't bring your friend out to look at it again, because you'll get very, very disappointed. It is not ever going to be the same again. That's why people say, well, why can't it be the way I want? Because it's not supposed to be, because it's absurd for you to pick up what happened to you last time and say you want it to happen again, and then look at a world that has nothing to do with you and expect it to be that way. It is not supposed to be the way you want. Well, why does it have to be the way I don't want? Because you're busy having a don't want. It doesn't know it's being the way you don't want. And if the next time you see an elephant, you come in from the backside, oh, why can't it be a trunk? Why does it have to be the road? Elephant doesn't like me anymore. No, it has nothing to do with the elephant. Maybe I should do mantra. What's the mantra for trunks? No, stop it. Do you see the absurdity of that? So just because you had an experience and it felt good, doesn't mean it's supposed to happen again. There is nothing special about what is coming in through your senses. And the fact that when it comes in, it has a different vibration. Everything has its nature. A color has its nature. Some colors come in, they feel pleasing. Other colors come in, they make you get all weird. They have different vibrations, don't they? Animals have vibrations. A little bunny rabbit has a different vibration than a rattlesnake. That's not you. You're not doing that. It's just the reality of the vibration of creation coming into you. That's beautiful. Say thank you. But you don't say thank you. So it comes in, it leaves an impression, but it doesn't just leave an impression, it leaves an impression of good or bad. So now you do this thing with your mind, which is, now I have these impressions in here, and some of them are nice, some of them are not. Okay, fine, that's what happened. That's reality. What do you do with it? I know what you do with it. You build a model about how life is supposed to be, so it's the way you liked having the nice impressions, and it's never the way ever again that was the way that you didn't like. And you build that inside, and it happens so fast because you have a supercomputer in there. It happens really fast. You build that model about how everybody's supposed to be, how close you're supposed to stand next to you in the elevator, everything. Whatever impression got left in there, either strong or last, you just watch it, you'll understand it. So you know what a LIFO stack is? I mean, ever study inventory management? Last in, first out. That's LIFO. Last in, first out. That's how that stuff works. The last impression you had, you met somebody, for a while they were really nice, you got along really well, then all of a sudden for 1 minute, 10 minutes ago, they said something you didn't understand. Next time you see them, you get scared. Last in, first out. That's how it works. However, it gets overridden by stronger impressions. Your childhood impressions, your formative years, if they're really strong, that impression got left and they're really strong, it will supersede the last impression you had. Somebody 2 years ago said something you didn't like. The whole rest of the time you heard nice things, everything like that. Now you see them for the first time after 2 years. Is it going to be nice because you heard nice things about them? They said nice things about you? Or is it going to come back up? Depends on how deep the scar is, isn't it? That's what you're living with in there. Just these impressions. And again, no one will dare say it but me. The meaningless impressions that just happen to happen in front of you. Do you understand that somebody could have said something mean about you and you never heard about it, and next time you see that person you feel really comfortable? It seems rather arbitrary. It seems like the quality of your life is dependent upon nothing. You just gave up anything. So you go in there, you have the impression, it is stored good and bad, I agree, some things are nice, some things are not, and then what happens is your abstract mind, that should be contemplating the fact that none of this matters, right? Like, okay, fine, there's 7 billion people on the planet, one of them said something not nice about me. Instead, what happens is, I use my abstract mind, instead of, it's called expanding your mind and contracting your mind. If at that point I expand my mind and realize I'm sitting on a planet, spinning in the middle of nowhere, in the midst of 2 trillion galaxies, I think I can handle what the lady said. How about you? It becomes much easier. You gave it room to pass through. But you don't do that. What you do is constrict your abstract mind to do the following. You build a model of what you like and what you don't like based upon your experiences. And then you go out there and look at the world and say the funniest thing that ever was said, it should be the way I want. That's why your life's a mess. Your life's not a mess because what's happening is exciting. What's happening is wow. It's the part you get to see. That's how you should look at it. It's not what happened to you. It's the part you get to see. It's not happening to you. It's happening. It would be happening even if you weren't there looking at it, wouldn't it? It's just happening. The universe exists. It's unfolding. So get out of this personal thing. It's called taking it personal. You saw this part when you were looking, all right, and unfold it. But then you develop this model based upon your likes and dislikes, and then you say, it should be that way. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be the way I like, and it's never supposed to be the way I don't like. But you don't even stop there. Then you say, well, the probability of it being the way I like is really pretty slim. And the probability of it never being the way I don't like doesn't seem to be working out too well either, all right? I think I better make it be the way I want. Oh, now we're really getting in trouble. I'm going to go out there and manipulate the world that has nothing to do with me, that's part of the entire... Here we go, all right? I'm going to make that tail into a trunk. Really, I don't want to be around to watch. That's supposed to be a trunk. It was a trunk last time, all right? I'm going to mold it. I'm going to do something, manipulate it, yell at it, do something, I don't know. That's what you're doing, don't you? You go out into the world and say, you're supposed to be the way I want you to be. You're supposed to behave the way, don't sit so close to him. Every single thing is supposed to be exactly the way I want. And it's never supposed to be the way I don't want. And I will manipulate and control and fight. And now you wonder why you got ulcers. Gee, there's so much tension. I wonder why. You know how much tension there is? 0. You know how much tension you have about the 2 trillion galaxies and everything that's going on in them? 0. How much attention you have of what's going to the right when you don't turn right? 0. To the left, 0. The whole world is going on all over the place, 99.9999999% of everything, and you feel 0 tension, 0 anxiety, 0 jealousy, 0 anything. But you can't handle the tiny little piece that's in front of you. Something's fishy, isn't it? That should let you see what's going on. You're doing it. Because you built this model inside, you are fighting with reality to try to make it be the same as the previous ones you liked and never be the same as the ones you didn't like. That is the essence of spiritual understanding. The problem is not that you're not getting what you want or that you're getting what you don't want. The problem is that you bother to even build a concept of want and not want. Where did that come from? I told you where it came from. It's just these impressions that naturally happen to you, and because some of them felt good and some of them didn't, you developed this model inside your mind about what I like and what I don't like. That was silly, because then you miss what happens next. Now when you go out there and interact with life, you don't get to interact with life. You judge it. That's what they talk about, judging. You judge it against what happened before. You judge it about whether you like all the different things you're doing based on the different experience you had. And so now life is a problem. Life is something to worry about. Life is something to struggle with, isn't it? Okay, you wake up in the morning, you're scared. You're scared something will happen that you don't want. You're scared that you won't get what you want. Inside, deep inside, is there enough fear? Is there not anxiety? When you sit there and have a conversation with somebody and you walk away after the conversation, even a friend, does your mind ever say, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I wonder what he's going to think about that. That was so stupid. God, I was doing so good. Why did I say that? God, that's fun, isn't it? Isn't that fun? Sit on a planet, spin around in the middle of a star, in the middle of nowhere, and be neurotic? Let's do that for our life. I told you, your life can be whatever you want. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I don't mean that what's going to happen out there is going to be whatever you want. I mean how you experience life and how you feel inside and the passion or joy or fear or whatever it is. You did that. Life did not do that to you. You did that. You did that. And in order to come back into a true whole life, a beautiful life, which is what a spiritual life is, you have to undo that. It isn't a matter of, I made a mess, I built this model inside, now I have all these fears and anxieties and desires and likes and dislikes. Now I need to go out there, and if it'll be the way I want, I'm okay. If it's the way I don't want, I'm not okay. So therefore, I have to make it be the way I want and not be the way I don't want, otherwise I'm not going to be okay. Well, you're never going to be okay. The very act of fighting with life makes you not okay. Life unfolds in front of you. Starting position, is that okay with you? Because the answer is no, isn't it? But then you got some work to do. And the work's not outside. The reality is going to be that life is going to unfold in front of you. You better be okay with that. We can talk about what you do with it, how you interact with it. It's not passive here. I'm not saying you don't have a place to interact with life, but you don't have a place to take your past experiences, which are nothing, put them together into a model of how I want things to be, and go out there and try to hit life over the head and fight with everything. That's not going to lead to anything that's any good in any way, shape, or form. And if you want to know what it's like to have a spiritual life and a beautiful life, you got to stop doing that. You have to say, I made a mess in here. I made a mess in here by deciding what I like and what I don't like and fighting with everything to be that way. Instead of appreciating, enjoying, respecting, honoring the reality that's unfolding in front of me. Saying, thank you, elephant, I got to see part of it. I didn't see all of it, but darn, I saw part of it. All right, I got to see part of it. I met an elephant once. I didn't see the whole thing, but it was like a trunk was there. Isn't that exciting? Okay, maybe I'll meet one again and see a tail. I don't know. The point is, you don't define life based upon the minuscule experiences that you've had. What I define life as, the reality that's unfolding in front of you, and you get to experience part of it. It's been going on for a very long time, hasn't it? It's been going on for 13.8 billion years. Life, this universe has been going on, and you're just here experiencing part of it. So how do you live a spiritual life? You start by coming to center inside. Be conscious and aware that events are unfolding in front of you. Don't start with the old ones. Don't try to undo the old ones. Start with the new ones that are coming in now. People say, I don't teach techniques. Here's your technique. Every single moment, from this moment forward, there's going to be something unfolding in front of you. Do that one right. And I swear to you, wait till you see what happens. Don't worry about the ones you've done messed up all your years so far, making a mess in there. People say, but I don't know how to get rid of my likes and dislikes. Don't even touch them. Don't do that. Just start right now. There are going to be experiences unfolding in front of you. There they are. Experience. You're going to get on a road, you're going to drive, and somebody's going to be going really slow. And you're going, hey, come on. Experience. It is where the tires hit the road that this work is done. It is not in your meditation room. You can meditate. It's good for you. It helps you maintain your center. It will not take you where I want you to go. It will not take you to liberation. Sit there and understand that the moment unfolding in front of me has the right to exist. Can you handle that statement? The moment unfolding in front of me has the right to exist. It has nothing to do with whether I like it or don't like it. I didn't say that. It has the right to exist. It's the result of all the forces that cause it to be, right or wrong. You have to be conscious and wise enough to start with this. There is a moment unfolding in front of me. It is part of the universe. It is part of the whole. It is the moment I'm experiencing, and I honor its right to exist. That's your starting place. Then what? Then you're going to see that when that moment comes in, it bothers you. It either turns you on or turns you off. That you're not neutral. It's just so funny. You're not neutral. That it does something to you. Let that go. Let go of your reaction to the reality that's coming inside of you. Well, what if the person's driving slow in front of me and I got to be somewhere? The person's driving slow in front of you. If you can pass them, by all means pass them, legally. But if you're in a single road, driving out of here, you can't pass them. Honor the moment. Honor the moment. It has the right to exist. Just as you have the right to drive the way you want, they have the right to drive the way they do. This is the moment that's unfolding in front of you. You just sit there and say, it has the right to exist. I'm here. And, ready? It has the right to exist. That's number one. Here's your rule. I'm giving you a technique. The rule number one is, the moment in front of me has the right to exist. Good. Rule number 2, ready? Close your ears. I can handle it. Really? Because the alternative is I can't handle it. And if you can't handle it, it's going to screw you up. And if you can handle it, it's not going to screw you up. There's somebody driving slow in front of you. That's the reality. You can live whatever life you want. You can sit there and say, wow, okay, I guess we're going to enjoy nature a little bit more than I normally would have. I guess we're going to see what it's like to drive slow. I know what it's like to drive fast. I always do. Now I get to see what it's like to drive slow. Nice to have different experiences, the varieties, the spice of life. Do whatever you want, but don't sit there and do what you do now, which is, I don't like this. I remember before, I had this driver in front of me, and I did 20 miles, I had to drive behind. Oh my God. It's like, what are you doing, and of what benefit is it? I challenged you all some time ago. That question came up, in business we do cost-benefit analysis. It's a normal thing to do. Just look at something, what's the cost, what's the benefit? If you're doing a cost-benefit analysis and you find out that there is 0 benefit and 100% cost, do you do it? 0 benefit, 100% cost. A good choice? Nobody would do it. That's what you're doing. You're driving behind this person. That's the reality. There is no benefit to get upset. I said, first, this is the reality. That's what's going on. It has the right to exist. Second, I can handle it. If you can't handle it, there's no benefit to that. It doesn't make the person get out of the way. Tell me what benefit is it? None. Is there a cost? It could ruin the rest of your day, couldn't it? So you have a choice. You absolutely have a choice. And this is spiritual growth. Like I said, meditation is good because it helps you stay conscious. It helps you be aware so you make good choices. You're conscious enough to make this decision. But this is where it happens. You go meditate 6 hours, then go get in your car and have to be somewhere and make a stupid decision. You just offset 20 hours. So you offset 20 hours of the effect of meditation by letting yourself get upset by the driver in front of you. Who's willing to take this challenge? I'm challenging you for every moment of your life. Don't tell me I don't have time. It doesn't take time. How do you like that? People say, I don't have time to meditate. I didn't ask for any time, did I? I asked for consciousness. I asked for decent decision making. If you don't make good decisions, you're not going to go anywhere, are you? Anywhere. Business, relationships, anything. Same thing with life. So life is unfolding in front of you. Technique number 1 is, I honor its right to exist. 2, I can handle it. Well, what if I can't handle it? Work on yourself. Work on yourself. How do you work on yourself? The way I found the highest way to do it is to relax. In the face of what's unfolding in front of you, if your inner being starts to give you disturbance over nothing, you're sitting on a planet in the middle of nowheres, relax. Well, I don't understand. How can you relax when it's getting upset? Relax. You can relax anytime you want. Relax right now, relax. Every muscle, relax. Do it while that person is driving that way. Do it while somebody's yelling at you. Do it while your car won't start. Do it every single time. This is how. First, honor the reality that's in front of you. Second, handle it. Now what? Now we can talk. Now deal with it. Now deal with it. Don't deal with it because you can't handle it. Then you're not dealing with it, you're dealing with the fact that you can't handle it. If it's upsetting you, you're going to make your decision about how to not be upset. That doesn't mean that was any good for what you're dealing with. That's not a good decision, ever. Do you understand that? That fear, anxiety, jealousy never make good decisions. Desire never makes a good decision. The only thing that makes good decisions is clarity. When you're clear, what does clear mean? My personal self is not freaking out inside. If that thing is reacting, I am guaranteeing you will make the worst decision that could ever be made. Because it's not even trying to make a good decision about what's happening. It's trying to protect itself. See, let's say you feel jealousy. Sure, jealousy, natural thing. Here's reality. Those people are dancing together. Reality is it's coming in. You've had experiences in the past where people left you or people hurt you, weren't loyal. So it leaves an impression inside. Perfectly natural, isn't it? Okay? Make a decision based on your reaction, and you will have made the worst decision for a relationship that you ever could make. Because you're not making a decision based upon what is best for what is going on. How can I raise the situation? How can I balance things? You're making a decision. I can't handle this. What do I need to do to make it go away? You're not even trying to make a good decision about what's happening. You're only making a decision about the fact that I can't handle it. How do I get it so I'm okay? All right, but we don't do that. Okay, so start doing it. That's your spiritual technique. So I told you, first, whatever's unfolding in front of you has the right to exist. That is by definition. Just like the whole rest has a right to exist, that has the right to exist. Second, I can handle it. It comes in, it's going to hit my stuff. I told you, the highest technique, it's not the only technique, but the highest is just stay centered and relax. Let it pass. And what is going to happen is that which you stored in there from before that got hit, when you give it room, is going to pass. Not just will this event make it through, but it will take with it the samskaras, the patterns that got stored from the past. And that's how you cleanse. If you are just willing to let go of the reactions you have in the everyday moments that unfold in front of you, when you go to bed at night, you are a higher person than you were when you woke up in the morning. And it will happen every single day. The transformation will be absolutely inconceivable how fast you will change. If you will let go of yourself, your reaction, your stuff you stored inside, with the everyday little, tiny little moments that are unfolding in front of you, if you will consistently and continuously relax and release, let go of yourself, it will go. And you won't come back to me and say, but what about the big stuff? Because it will all come up when it's supposed to, in just the right order, in just the right way, unbelievably. And at a point you'll say, but I can't handle it. You will never, ever, ever face that which you can't handle. It will be exactly the right amount to make sure you're letting go as fast as you can. And if you will let go, now you're there. Now you still deal with what's in front of you. You still deal with life, but you deal with it from clarity. So now something's going on, and my experience is as follows. If something goes on in life and it's in front of me and it causes a reaction inside of me, if I can relax through that reaction and get at least reasonably clear so I'm not representing the reaction, you know what I mean by that? I'm out here, my words, my actions are representing that reaction inside. I don't want to be the representative of the lowest part of my being. I want to be the representative of the highest part of my being. So I find clarity. Now I'm telling you, it's just my experience, and I've been doing it for 45 years. At least 95% of the time, once I've done that, there's nothing to do with outside. Either the person who said something I didn't like left, they're gone, there's nothing to do with it. I have to go chase after them. You only chase after them if you can't handle it. If I can handle it and let it go, fine. Somebody said something. I don't know why they did it. I'm not going to make it up. I'm just going to let it go. We'll worry about it next time if there is a next time. And what's amazing is if you do that, the next time you see the person, you don't even remember that they bothered you a little bit and that reaction happened. And if you do, because you let it go, you feel respect that person helped you grow. It's like some people are really hard to get along with. Used to complain about that. Now you say, oh boy, now I'm going to grow. I'm going to see her. Now there'll be some transformation going on. All right, let's go. All of a sudden, life becomes totally different. It becomes a cleansing experience. It becomes a process of releasing and growing and expanding. Now, there are times in which you let go. There's still stuff in front of you. Somebody challenged you, somebody sued you, somebody did this, somebody stole your car. First, handle it, then call the police. Because you have an obligation. It's an asset. It's your responsibility. Not out of anger, not out of fear, out of what we call dharma. For those of you who know the word. In other words, I'm acting not because I can't handle it. I'm acting because I can handle it and it needs me to deal with it. It's calling upon me to interact with it. Not I have to beat it up so I be okay. It's always selfless action. It's just the most amazing thing. All of spirituality will unfold naturally if you will do this. Now, that would be enough if that's all that happened. That is not all that happened. What will happen, and it's miraculous, and I don't want you to want it, but it will happen, as you let go of this garbage that you have collected in your mind based on your past experiences and your past likes and dislikes, and don't buy into trying to manipulate the world. Instead, let go of yourself every moment and then interact with the world with clarity. Something's going to happen inside of you. You're going to start to feel this love, this joy, this inspiration, this passion that just starts to well up inside of you all the time. From the moment you wake up in the morning, it's there before you wake up. You know how when you wake up now, your mind's there to bother you before you even become conscious? Why did you do that? That will never, ever be like that ever again. When you wake up in the morning, there's waves of ecstasy pouring through your being, and that's what you fall into. And then throughout the day, unless you stop it by getting weird, and you know what I mean, it's in there feeding you. It's just in there flowing. Well, what is that? We call it Shakti, Chi, Spirit, call it whatever you want. Someday you will understand it is the energy that you were using to build this mess inside of you. You were taking that energy, this beautiful love, this beautiful inspiration, and you were gluing it all together to what you want and how you're going to get it, and worrying about whether you'll have. That took energy to do that. When you free that energy, it naturally goes up. The energy, when released from the job of building your personal self, becomes spiritual. Why? Because it is spiritual. There's only one energy in there. It's what you did with it that made the mess. And I'm telling you, when you let it go, it will start feeding you. That's what Christ meant when he said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. Nice Jewish yogi teaching Christ. I like Christ. There is this beautiful energy inside, and you misused your mind to get it completely into it's all about me. It's all about me, what I want and what I don't want. It is not about you. There's 2 trillion galaxies out there. It's not about you. That's the funniest thing I ever heard of. It doesn't mean you're not part of it. It doesn't mean you don't interact with it. And so what will happen is you'll start to feel this joy. And once you feel that joy, it's over. Because the joy is stronger than the pull of the personal self. And it will pull you up into it. And in order to get involved with like and dislike, you have to leave that love. And you decide, I will never leave that love. And that's devotion. That's devotion. You devote yourself to God. You devote yourself to the highest thing inside of you. That's devoting yourself to God. Because you're going to find out eventually that they're the same. That it ties together into oneness. So spirituality is a pretty neat thing, isn't it? But what we dealt with is where the rubber hits the road. That is your highest technique. Do you want to be messed up? It's not hard. You can be plenty messed up. You want to not be messed up? You want to not just enjoy your life, but live a life of ecstasy? And by the way, when you're feeling that flow, you will find that surrendering and feeling and harmonizing with that flow is what they call being in the zone. That's what they call it in sports. I'm in the zone. There's no one here. It's just oneness with the flow, with everything. That's where you live. You will never leave that place. And every decision you make, everything you do, every word that comes out of your mouth will come from that place. And wait till you see the life that unfolds in front of you. For every one of you. All right. Very good. Work on these things. Jagrata.